3 people in the last, 3 weeks? Something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, one of them like video editor a little bit earlier, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So tell me what's happening. Tell me what role you see they taking over, and just give me an overview of hopefully the good news of you having to bring in people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very satisfied with how things are going. I'm satisfied with both of them. As I told you, I want to hire people who understand the wider picture and who can also implement things. So that those are all and that they can understand my humor, that we can joke around, that we are like relaxed and flexible, and that they actually like what they're doing. They like the values, the company, everything. So far, so good. I mean, I have Ivan, who's director of demand gen. So basically, he will be the one who will replace me when it comes to certain things like huge strategies and those kind of things. I mean, I'm still the mastermind, but he's there. And we have now Martin, who is also doing the strategies and the implementation, but on a smaller level. And basically, he's just getting into this story, but he's already done a lot of things. So I'm even helping him also like connect the dots and really see how he fits into the whole picture.
So there's a couple questions that I have for you on that. One, so that we have an understanding of like how big or how the size of Funky Marketing. You guys are right now, you and 3 full-time people. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not hiring nobody like full-time.
Right.
They are all like on 3 months test period.
Yeah.
But one thing that I'm doing is I'm giving each one of them 20% of each new client while the client is with us. So basically we have a strategy for each of them, not only for when it comes to the company, but when it comes to development of their own personal branding. So they can also go out there and earn some more and bring us some more customers, some more clients. So we can all like grow together.
So you're giving them 20% of clients that they bring in, or?
Yeah, of clients they bring in each month until the client is with us.
Got it. So now that you guys are like growing in size of your team, can you walk us a little bit of like how many clients you're working with so that we understand the ratio of like number of individuals of employees towards number of clients?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think we have like 7 long-term clients.
Okay.
Who is with us. We are doing like the full service. We have like 3 of them for which we are only doing advertising part.
Right.
And we have like, let me see, 1, 2 of them for which we're mostly doing like consulting. Basically, that's me doing that part, acting as a virtual CMO.
Yeah.
So overall, that's it. And now we have like 1 more with 2 products where basically we are white labeling for that client, just because there's a chance of bigger opportunity on the horizon. So I wanted to jump into that train and see what's happening.
Got it. So on our end, we're looking to hire somebody full time. We were really close to firing this one person. She emailed me today saying that for some health issues, it's probably going to be hard for her to come in, which really fucking was hard to hear because I really wanted her in. But while I was preparing,
you are taking people physically in one position or remote?
All remote. But
okay.
But she mentioned that. So it was basically an account manager, or what we call a brand manager, where what she does is like she is a project manager internally, where like she's managing our production team, and externally it's a client-facing role. So she works with the clients. And this specific person had been in this role before. She had been a COO kind of in another marketing agency, so I thought it would be a really good fit. But for some health issues, it's probably going to be hard to bring her in. But when I was calculating, part of me was feeling the pressure of like having to, financially compensate it. That when expenses go up, like there starts to be more pressure and more anxiety of like what happens if we cannot afford her or in the future, right? So now that you've brought a few people in, have you started feeling that sense of, okay, now I cannot mess up because it's not just me, it's other people as well?
No, actually, I'm like quite motivated and feeling quite free because like in the last 2 days, like Martin started to work with us this week. We talked last week and went through all kind of different things, but I feel like pressure is coming off my shoulders because
Okay.
I don't have that pressure of do so many things, and I saw that I can have trust in them even like in this short period of time. I mean, let me paint you a picture. Like, when's the last time did you hear that your employees are asking you to give them feedback on something they are doing on their own during the weekend? Like they are pressuring me to work during the weekend. And
right.
I mean, how I structure everything, I don't want to micromanage. So I give them the chance to be creative, to get out there. I'm just like helping them to see some of the things that I was doing wrong and the clients saw it so they can see it too, and just realize that. And based on that, they're like going, even the two of them together, they're doing something which I don't actually need to go into, but like Ivan is helping Martin with coming up with the content for LinkedIn and coming up, seeing better things. I'm doing that too, but Ivan is also stepping up because he just went through the process, so he wants to explain, make it easy for Martin to also get into things.
Yeah, I mean that's a positive side, right? Of like bringing new people in.
Yeah, the one thing. Sorry, I forgot to say.
Yeah.
Like, it was COVID, and we just grew in the last, like, since forever, since the beginning, and I have a lot of like money on the side, which is left. Like, if I can feel like I don't feel the pressure of bringing some people in, but also on the other hand, we have clients who are with us for a long time, some of them since the beginning, and I don't need to fuel employees with that money which is left on the side. I can use the money which is coming in from the clients each month. So that's cool. And we also have now, without like bringing in anyone new when it comes to the clients, we have the space to grow even more. So I think we're in a good position.
Right. Where do you see the agency growing in the next 3 to 6 months? Do you think you guys need somebody else? You need to bring in somebody else? Do you think you're good for a while? Where do you think it's going to happen?
I mean, I would like us to like just lay low for at least a month.
I was going to say, I remember
Yeah.
one of the earliest episodes, you said something like, I don't want to build a huge agency. Like we're good. And it seems like that's changed a little bit. So where do you see it?
No, that's still there. I don't want to go above 10 people. I don't have any ideas of growing like a huge company. Basically, the next 2 steps might be bringing somebody else who is of the same profile of people, or bringing somebody who is going to take charge of the project management, just because there are so many things and I want to slowly get out of it. But this person probably won't have any ideas about the demand gen, about getting into marketing. Probably he or she would be good at project management. So from that side, I'm teaching the guys now what are some things that need to overlook, what are some things that need to be controlled, so they can know if the work is good or it isn't. And like the project manager can just deliver tasks and see if they're following deadlines, those kind of things.
Are you looking for people all around the world? Are you looking for people in Eastern Europe? What's the right fit for you or your company right now?
To tell you the truth, I have no idea. I mean, the guy who I'm rating the space from,
Yeah,
is also is a project manager. So maybe he's also the right fit. I don't know, but
right.
like it keeps adding step by step to the whole story. Like I'm just following what, like I mean, I had to sit down and really see what are some main things that I need to be careful about and some things that I need to think about, and that's it. Now I'm relaxing. Everything is just going in their own pace.
Got it. Last question that I have for you on this was, I believe
I wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah, I'm actually. It's recent for me as well, because I've been looking to hire this one person who, like, the salary, like, it hurt me to pay that. Like, it was a good salary because, like, she deserved it, and I thought she was going to be super helpful, and I was more than happy to give it to her. It was just like from somebody that comes from like really nothing. Like that was a big salary, right? To be paid,
Yeah.
but it was part of the growth of the agency, and now we're going to have to find somebody instead of this person. But
Yeah, I mean,
this
I
is something that
understand
I'm
you
interested in.
completely. I'm having like this test period because I've been through the situation. Like I work in the agency, decision-making positions, and I was the one who is deciding who I'm hiring, who I'm not, and I've seen how it goes. Like the first girl that I hired is the first that I fired, basically. But look, like she was somebody who was in charge of social media, and all the others that we had applying for the position, and we really needed to hire somebody. They were all boring. Like
Right.
she was the only one who could come up with a story right at the spot.
Right.
Like I was, one question was like, start telling me the story. I don't care what it is. Just start telling me the story.
Right.
And yeah, but it comes up that some other things happened, and like yeah, it wasn't very good at the end. She was good at some other things, but for this thing that we hired her, she wasn't great. So I had to do also, as I hired my first person, I had to also fire my first person. So it was a struggle a little bit. I was happy that I had like the owners who helped me adjust to that, and yeah, but it's a process.
Yeah. One thing that I found is when I was gonna hire her was that we needed to raise our prices because like the financials had to make sense, and that's something that like one of my mentors mentioned me that as you hire more people, the prices eventually you're gonna have to raise them, and he was definitely right on that end. But the question I wanted to ask you was, I believe it was last episode or 2 episodes ago, you mentioned that you were looking as well into at some point penetrating like the US market and trying to go for like a bigger size deals there. Do you think that if to penetrate that market, you are good with the team that you currently have, or do you think you have to hire people that are US native so you can make the transition easily?
No, I think we're good. Like both of the guys that we now have were like writing content for other agencies, for other people, running teams. So on multiple markets. So they are good. I mean, we're right now going that direction. I think we're in negotiation with a few potential clients who are over there. So we're going to see what happened. That client that I mentioned, like white label, also US client. So we're going to do a lot of different things. We're going to experiment a little bit about with LinkedIn ads. I'm like super excited to try that and see what we get. And also, yeah, it's kind of we keep getting companies which are our ideal clients most of the time. Even that client, I didn't know who are they. I were having an agreement with the agency that has them, and it turns out that I agree before I knew the name.
Right.
So they turn out to be our ideal clients. But also, on the other hand, I'm constantly talking with people. We don't receive, now we started to get even more traction. So not everybody who is scheduling a call is the right fit. Like in last 2 days, 2 of them weren't the right fit. Like one of them was the company who had a content management product, something that you can manage multiple WordPress account in one place. And basically they needed somebody to do the pre-launch, launch, the after launch, and then help them grow and everything. And I refused because it would take all our team, plus I would have to outsource somebody else. So we stick to the strategy, to the content, and to the distribution. I think those are like the core things that we do. And that's it. I'm still finding the right fit when it comes to the content writing. So we'll see what's going on.
Yeah. If you need help with that, let me know. Like if you need somebody to like write, I'm not saying for us, I'm saying for the people that we work with, I can refer you to them.
For sure.
I'll send you a message after the episode. Another question that I wanted to ask you was, it's kind of related to this, is what do you think are the differences in the B2B marketing landscape? So community, best practices, general understanding of B2B marketing between the United States, especially New York, Silicon Valley, like the bigger, more advanced cities, and the Eastern European or European market of Serbia and Montenegro, all these places that surround you. What do you think are the differences and the differences in mentality that you've seen?
Let me approach that from the marketing perspective, from the perspective of somebody who's doing marketing for them.
Yep.
For what I see, like here, let's say Western Balkans, companies don't have huge budgets, especially advertising budgets. So we need to be creative and really get into things, into some guerrilla marketing tactics, into finding different solutions which can work like organically or can basically getting the biggest results for the least amount of budget. Let me say it like this. And in outside, most of the agency don't even work without certain amount of budget. Mm-hmm. And if they do, it all depends. There are some good ones, there are some bad ones, but if we as marketing as a whole from the Western Balkans go over there and try to do something with a huge budget, I'm not saying it's me, overall, there's a huge chance that we're gonna fuck up something. Because we didn't have a chance to work with huge amount of budget. And things are changing when you work for a huge company with a huge budget. Things are changing, and some things are not working the same as to the company with up to 50 people.
Right.
It's totally different. It doesn't matter what's the market, but you need to have the right experience and know how things are going. That's the things that I'm seeing. And I mean, if you adjust to the circumstances that's over there, to the bigger budget, you have somebody who can guide you a little bit from the start. With that experience that you have from the Western Balkans, like creating magic, you can do wonders.
Right. So what would you tell to like a European marketer, like somebody from Serbia who's like starting their marketing career, and they're considering, you know, moving to the United States and trying to be a marketer there? What do you think are your thoughts of, like, is it necessary to have a great career, or can you build a great career in the Balkans?
Yeah, I would say ask Marty. He has experience from the both sides, European and US.
I don't have experience in Europe. I have, like, I started. I mean, if I were to answer that question, I would say I don't think you need to go to America, especially now with like how virtual the world has become with COVID and how everybody's working from everywhere. However, if you want to be the best in the world, you have to go to America. Like, if you want to have a good career and like be happy, you probably want to stay in Europe. But if you want to be like the number one guy of like B2B, or you want to work for the biggest companies, the best campaigns, then I do think there's nothing like the United States to make that learning experience speed up. I think that there's more competitiveness, there's more resources, there's more everything that makes you grow as a marketer or as an entrepreneur or as whatever you are. Now, like, I totally respect for people who like don't want to go or can't go. But I do think even if it's for a short stint, I would 100% recommend it. Like, I remember I was there last summer. By the way, I just bought the flights for November 15th. I'm going back to there. Nice. But I was there last summer, and I had been in Spain for like a year, and I was feeling like a little bit slow in terms of like how competitive I was. Like, I'm very competitive, but here, like, I didn't have a community around me. It was hard to find other marketers. And I remember I went there to New York. I sat on a Starbucks, and next to me there was like a guy coding, like building an app. And like, I didn't know him, but I had to sit down somewhere. So I sat down next to him. Like, we kind of looked at each other, like said hi, got a coffee. And I started working on whatever it was. 2 hours later, I was tired and I wanted to stop working. And I looked over to him, and he had not stopped for 2 hours, and he was still going. So I was like, okay, he's going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. And we eventually were there for like 7 hours, both of us, like with almost no breaks. Like, I wouldn't do that in Spain. And the only way I do that is in America, because there's that competitive edge. I'm not saying that's healthy. I'm not saying that's good. I'm saying it makes you better by force. So as a marketer, I would definitely consider trying to like go over there or London or one of these bigger cities and trying to make it there. If you can make it there, you can make it everywhere.
Yeah, I agree for that part. I mean, I'm not a fan of like moving, but visiting, spending some time there, yeah, definitely. I mean, from a smaller market here in Serbia, I mean, you can obviously see the difference. I mean, I was working from Pirot to Canadian-based agency, so I don't see that different when it comes to the market, but you are closer to the opportunities when it comes to there. So they don't invite people who are like from my hometown, from Pirot, to the biggest marketing conferences to speak.
Right.
You know, and if I'm like based in Novi Sad, yeah, that changes things, because you are constantly here, they're constantly seeing you. But it's a bit different, I think, now when we're all digital and all. It's not, I mean, here in Serbia, they won't invite somebody like that. In New York or somebody else, if you build like the huge branding, you build a huge company, that changes things. Somebody will see you and you will be invited because there's a bigger scope of opportunities over there, you know. So that's what I'm talking about. But when it comes to experience and trying things out, yeah, definitely. As I would recommend somebody doing instead of learning first, I would also say like go over there, spend some time, see what's the ecosystem like. Do you fit? Or what do you are the person who is for that? Like I didn't move to Belgrade, I moved to Novi Sad because Belgrade is too fast for me.
Right.
Like everybody is nervous without any reason. I'm losing like hour and a half to 3 hours each day in traffic. So I don't want that in my life. That's why I moved to Novi Sad.
But that's why, like, I would always recommend self-awareness, right? Like if you're aware of who you are, then you understand where you're going to thrive better. But like you said, you're definitely closer to the opportunities. And for me, it was a bit different because I was born there. So it didn't feel like moving. It felt like going back home a little bit. But I totally understand why others don't. It kind of reminds me of, and I'm sure you relate to this, like when European players go to the NBA and like, you can go there too young and then mess up. Like I remember like Mario Thonia, who's Croatian, I think. He played for Barca. Like he went there too young and he struggled. Or you can go there when you're like proven yourself a little bit in a smaller market and then you go to the NBA or to New York to work. But it's definitely something that's interesting if you're at a marketer and you're considering it. Personally, I would recommend it. I think you can always come back. Like there's nothing to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was younger, going out, like having fun with some girls, and one of them was studying in Belgrade. Like, I worked for that Canadian agency at the time, and I said I'm good, like spending my life even here in Pirot because like I can finish my work, I can go grab a beer. Just in 10 minutes, I'm on the top of the hill where I can see the whole city from. I'm okay. And like she told me, you have no idea how much do you fit actually in a big city in that like whole ecosystem. You have no idea. I'm coming from that place, and I can see you just being natural over there and just feeling it.
Yeah, I think there's a balance that needs to be found. I know this is not some of the topics that we usually talk about, but for example, I'm from a small beach town here in like 40 minutes south from Barcelona, and it's small. Everybody knows each other. We have the ocean right next to it. And I like, this is home for me. Like I love coming here, but from a professional standpoint, I feel like I'm not at my best. So it's about finding the balance of like when I'm here and when I'm there. And it's different time, right? Like right now I'm on my mid-20s, like, or early mid-20s. When I'm 35 and I have a wife and kids, then I probably will move here because it's a better place to live. But something that is worth thinking if you're a marketer or you're a salesperson and want to test things out, for sure.
Yeah, you have a few more years than I have. Like I have this feeling constantly. I mean, it's not a feeling; it's actually the truth. Because of the 90s, when we have like the civil war and everything,
right?
I feel like I'm constantly like few years behind where I should have been. You know, and it's basically, I think I told you at one point, that's why I started to work with kids and do youth work, just to help them just travel, experience the world, those things that I couldn't see while I was like in the second part of the primary school or beginning of the high school. So and I was going like how do we say it? slowly and just, let's say, safely. I saw the question from Amra. Well, now we come to the part of the show when you can actually ask questions, and we can answer some of the questions. Basically, the concept of the show is me and Marty talk about different topics, and we also answer your questions. One thing, Marty, you don't know that as well as everybody else. We'll have to confirm in a few days, but I think we'll have Anna Pagan with us next Wednesday to talk a little bit about product marketing, because we had a lot of questions about it, and I want to have somebody who is more into the topic than you and I, just so we can have like an overview and have a good conversation.
Absolutely. Awesome. So we can answer any questions that come up. I don't know if you had any specific questions as well, Nemanja, that we could touch on.
There are some things that I think I want to talk about a little bit, just to share some of the things that I'm seeing, and then we can chat a little bit about it. Like, I was auditing and interviewing a lot of people who are in B2B software industry, and I was actually not surprised with the results. It was just as I thought they are. So first of all, when it comes to marketing, like they didn't have a strategy. They just knew that they want more leads, and they were trying to get them through the conferences, like paying for booths. And on the other hand, just going outreach. And basically, what surprised me here is that they were aware that those things aren't bringing them results anymore. Just a few months ago, if I would ask them the same questions, they would answer like, this is the best practice, this is what everybody does. And now they are aware that some of those things aren't working. But are they doing something about it? No. Basically, they have this idea that they want to create the great content. So in that way, they all have done a good keyword research. They all did find a good topic, pain points, and they started creating articles. But they are writing one article per month, posting it on a website, posting it one time on their social media profiles, and sending it through the newsletter. That's all they do. When it comes to social media, they don't have a strategy. So we cannot ask them what they are measuring, because they are aware they don't have a strategy. They just feel the need to post so they can be seen, and they do that once a week.
Right.
I mean, no logic in there. But on the other hand, they are investing in advertising, getting some kind of leads over there, but it's all foggy because they don't have a strategy behind it, and they don't actually know what they are doing. It just because they're doing it just because they know that they need to invest also in advertising part. And this is the situation that in most cases I see in the companies when we come in and audit them.
Yeah, it's very easy, and we've seen this as well, to do things just because you think you have to, versus doing them with an actual purpose, right? I was talking to this B2B CEO the other day, and he was telling me that he wants to create content. And he's doing some content creation, but he doesn't have a framework. He doesn't have guiding strategies. He doesn't have a voice tone defined. He doesn't even have a way to monetize it. He just heard that he has to do it, and he's doing it. So I do think that if you audit and analyze not just software companies, but most marketing programs, you'll see that 70 to 80% of the things that they're doing, they're not creating any measurable results, and they're not done with any framework behind it. That's why I think if people were able to like audit what they're doing, see what the results are coming, and over-index on those things that are working, even if it's just one or two things, and then like disregard the rest. Just to do things badly, don't do them. They'd get much better results. And like I said, even if it's like my thing, right? Like if you're putting out one article a month with no thought, paying a freelancer $25 for 1,000 words, like just don't do it, because you're wasting time, you're wasting money, and your peace of mind, your mind power, and your resources would be much better invested into the one or two things that you know for sure it's actually working.
Yeah, and what happens usually, they hire somebody to do marketing, somebody who has background only in marketing, like working in the agency. And what do? They optimize their social media profiles, all of them. They open, if they don't have, everywhere, so Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, I don't know, Pinterest. They tell them they need to be everywhere, and they start creating content and posting it everywhere. And in a time, they see that actually they're going too wide, and they need to narrow down things and going in a different direction.
But they should know that beforehand. They should know that, like when we start with a client, we do a kickoff call where we like set up the guidelines and understand their voice and tone and their objectives. And before that kickoff call, we have like the strategy call with them on sales calls to define the scope. And like, you don't need 90% of the things you're doing. You don't need to be on Facebook and TikTok and all this shit. Like, just focus on the one or two things that create the 80-20% of results and double down. And then when this works and you're making a lot of money because LinkedIn and Twitter work, then if you want to get fancy, then do Instagram. But until then, like, focus on the one or two customer acquisition channels that is working for your agency, where your clients are, where you can have the capabilities and the feasibility to create content, and then do that. But don't try to be everywhere because your competitor, who's a Fortune 500 company and has a budget of marketing of $3 million a month, is everywhere because they can, but you can't. So like, you have to think in a guerrilla type of mindset.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we have been through that process also. You know, remember that we posted also in Facebook group, on our Facebook page, a bit of Twitter, Instagram. No, from the start I said no, but now we narrow it down and we only do LinkedIn and YouTube when it comes to long form videos. That's everything that we do because it brings us results, and those results keep growing, and we don't need to go anywhere else.
Right. And I have a team for my own personal brand, so I can do LinkedIn and Twitter, but I would not do anything else, right? Like, LinkedIn and Twitter are getting us results, so that's what we focus on. Until we don't run a multi-million-dollar agency, we're not focusing on anything else. Like, double down on what works. We have this question from Ambra that I want to read over to you, Nemanja.
Yeah. Maybe we can Amra can jump on the call and ask the question directly. I think that would be great.
That works.
Okay. No worries. No rush.
Okay, she's connecting the mic. I think you put her on the spot right now, Nemanja. Like, you need to give her a warning next time.
I do that for the people. You did that to me from the start, so
yeah.
That's what we do, I think.
Right. If on the meantime, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop them. We'll answer them right after. And wrap this up in a few minutes as well.
Yeah, don't be shy. Milena, Bratza, you know already.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hey there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey. Hello. Yes, I saw somewhere your invitation, and it was kind of interesting for me because I am at the moment on in a thinking over phase where I'm just thinking about how my life should continue, because I worked 12 years long for a company as a financial analyst. I'm actually coming from another branch, another type of business, and I worked also in more actually as a project manager and implementation of some software solutions for businesses. And now, because of this situation with Corona and worldwide, actually, I I was looking for a job, and then my brother came up with the idea of establishing the own company, a little own family-owned company who that implements and develop mobile apps. So I'm actually I just wanted to help him a little bit out and to find something out about the marketing opportunities or new marketing opportunities that are offered or that are actual now, like LinkedIn, Facebook, and so on. I just tried also to play a little bit with Google Ads and so on my own, actually, and then I realized that it isn't that easy as I thought, or yeah, as I assumed, actually. So where to start? What is the best way?
Awesome. It's a good question. Nemanja, I have some thoughts, but would love to hear what you think about what's the best way to start marketing career, especially in B2B.
Yeah, I mean, in any marketing, I would say finding a mentor. Somebody who you look up to, you want to get to that point, and just trying to get as close as possible to that person, and really just go from there. I mean, when it comes to resources, those kind of things, I can share a ton of them. That's not a problem. Amra, just send me a message on LinkedIn. I'll share with you a lot of content. But you need somebody to guide you a bit. I would say just not to go too broad, because marketing is huge overall. Also digital marketing, and you can go in any sphere. Just it's nice to talk with somebody in details and see what are some specific areas that you can be good at, that you are interested in, and when those two things collide, maybe that's the direction in which you should go.
In my opinion, the first thing that I would do is to really understand why marketing is where you want to go. Right? There's a lot of like marketing gurus that are very cool. And I think some people are misled on like what marketing like really is and how much work it takes, and like it's not an easy thing to do. Working with clients is complicated. So first of all, I just make sure that this is really, really, really because of you, and you're self-aware what you want to do with your life. If after that, if you decide yes, this is it, then I think in my opinion you need to deserve a mentor. So I think Nemanja makes a great point. Like mentors can be really, really helpful, but you need to deserve them first. Like you need to show them that you're going to use what they teach you and be worthy of their time. So
how can I deserve a mentor?
So in that's where I'm going. In my opinion, there's two ways to do that. One, you need to run a project for yourself. And be able to share that with them. So for example, if you want to do like web development, then you need to build websites for yourself. Whatever that is, even if it's just self projects, that's fine. If you want to be a content writer, you need to write for yourself. When I started, I wrote for 6 months every single day before I got paid to write, right? To ghostwrite for CEOs. And I had a backlog of content to share with them. I had 6 months of every single day on Quora answering 2, 3, 4 questions. And that was like my catalog. Like an artist has 5 albums that he has published. That was like my 5 albums. That was like what I could share with them, that I was serious about it. And that this was something really important to me. And then when mentors see that, that's when they want to work with you, because you have already taken the first step. You just have to take the first step. They'll take you from 1 to 100, but you have to take yourself from 0 to 1. And then the second thing that I would recommend is, if you can, and I know this can sound really privileged, but if you can, work for free, especially at the beginning, right? Like working for free has been the best way that we've gotten clients over the last 2 years, and the best way to build relationships with clients, with mentors, with other people. We still do that. Like we still have somebody on our team who like creates content for free for people that we want to work with. So it just, both things are about doing something that you can show before asking for money or mentorship or anything else. So that's what I would recommend in terms of like how to get started.
Yeah, there's just one thing that I want to say, like B2B, you don't need to go into marketing. You can go and work in B2B. I think you have some good overview of the things that you have done. So business, as a business analyst, as you mentioned, like project manager, those are all positions that are very much needed today. Like I'm working now with a few clients who are like from fintech industry and finances. They all need somebody who can help them, actually translate their message to the wider audience, because they're into finance. Finance can be a little bit boring. So they need somebody who can be that step between them and between their future clients, customers, however we call it. And good project managers are always in demand. So maybe just one more way in which you can look at that.
Yeah, and sorry, Amra, if you don't mind, one last thing that I'll die if I don't say it is, I've seen a lot of people that they want to start and like they follow 100 marketing people and they buy a lot of courses and all that. I think it's best to like follow 1 or 2 people that you really trust, that you can relate to, consume all their content, and don't let too much information slow you down or overthink it. I think if you want to do marketing, just do it. Like go ahead, take any of the steps that we've mentioned, but don't let information overload create analysis paralysis and hold you back. That's it. That's all I want to say.
Thank you both for the inputs. Just a feedback to Nemanja. It is not about the fear that I am thinking I won't find any jobs in finance and project management. It is about a kind of. I'm thinking about okay. Would you like to continue with your life that way, or is it now a new chance for you to change something? Because yes, I was working all the time as a financial analyst or project manager. It was 10 to 12 hours a day or 10 to 16 hours a day. And I'm just looking for something where maybe thinking about building up something and to work hard in, I don't know, to work hard several years, and then just to have a better work-life balance, you know, because finance is boring. Yeah, that's right. And but I was thinking about how about maybe more creative things or something in this area.
Yeah, I mean, if
And
you have to change right now, is probably the best timing. So
yeah,
this is a good point of time to change.
okay.
Yeah.
And how? I also do not have any problems to work for free now, because I have I have some money that I could live from. But I think I should maybe use the situation and really change my profession. And I know I have a lot to learn because everything changes and we are living in a changing world and so on. I could start doing something. We have actually developed also something to show, but where to find those mentors you mentioned?
I have a suggestion that may lead to that, and it is to start thinking in public and sharing your journey and your story, your thinking. Just exactly what you are saying right now. Just start writing about it. Share your perspective. I'm sure that you have your perspective on the marketing and on the market overall from the position that you work with. And I think it can give you a uniqueness, and people will start to see that. You will become visible. You will start interacting with people, and you will see who are the ones who you can follow. But also just set up a goal, a direction in which you want to go. It will also clear up who can be that person.
Okay, even if I don't have enough follower, for example.
No, you don't need a lot of followers. We all started from zero. So let's say LinkedIn is great. It gives you a good reach, even if you have a zero followers and zero posts. So just go ahead, be natural, and start putting out those things that you're thinking about. If you include other people in your thinking, then they will be part of your journey, and that's how from the start you're starting to create a community.
And this goes not only for you, Ambra, that is just starting, but for the other people here in the B2B Weekly that are probably a bit more advanced in their marketing or their sales career. This is still a good opportunity for you to start creating content, right? Like what Nemanja is telling Ambra, he could be telling you guys as well. You always have the opportunity to create content. You don't have to be a thought leader. You can just share what you're learning, share your lessons, share your experience. And that's eventually going to help you create a great network. Because Nemanja and I usually talk about getting clients, but it can also be getting a better job or getting promoted at the agency because you've brought a few clients. So I do think that everyone else here should take that advice as well and start creating content. It doesn't take that long, and it's definitely a good investment to do that. It also clarifies your thinking. So when you write online, you get better at communicating that, and that's also going to help at your work as well. So just some thoughts for everybody else who's a bit more advanced and not just getting started. The advice is exactly the same.
Yeah, Alexandra said it's not about followers. You do it because you want it. Simple. I can just agree. And Milena asked, did you have an opportunity to mentor someone, and how was your mentorship experience? I don't know. Do you want us to answer this now, or we can do it next week? However, do you want it?
Let's do like these shows in Netflix and leave it to be continued and answer it next week.
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm right now mentoring a team of young people with Social Impact Awards and going through the process. And before that, I was also doing a little bit of mentorship for the startups. So, and even before that in civil sector, I was doing it a lot. I mean, by being a mentor on an event, just a short one, like an hour, just short chat with startups, I met Bratislava over there. So,
yeah, this is a good question, though. I do think we can go a bit more in depth into it next week. And Milena, the awesome question that you have there.
Yeah, cool. We leave that for another Wednesday. If we don't have Anna and talk about product marketing, we go with mentorship. If not, then we just postpone it.
That
So
works.
cool, guys.
Thank you everyone for joining.
Yeah.
We appreciate your time, and thank you so much for being here. So we'll see you next Wednesday, 6 p.m., right?